The Senate Armed Services Subcommittee on Seapower meets this afternoon to examine Navy and Marine Corps aviation programs. Our subcommittee welcomes three distinguished witnesses: Vice Admiral Paul A. Grosskлагs, Commander, Naval Air Systems Command; Lieutenant General Stephen Rudder, Deputy Commandant for Marine Corps Aviation; and Rear Admiral Scott Kahn, Director of Air Warfare at the Department of the Navy. Our subcommittee is grateful to each of you gentlemen for your service to our nation. I would like to offer a special welcome to Admiral Kahn and General Rudder, who are testifying to this subcommittee for the first time. And there is speculation, Vice Admiral Grosskлагs, that you are testifying before the subcommittee for the last time. Is that correct?
There is a rumor, sir.
There's a rumor to that effect. Well, we'll see about that. Last year's subcommittee hearings on naval aviation programs were productive. Since then, the Department of Defense has articulated a bold new national defense strategy. In particular, the NDS focuses on preparing for long-term security challenges, notably the ability to wage high-end fights against near-peer competitors such as China and Russia. I look forward to hearing how Navy and Marine Corps aviation will meet the direction of this new strategy. Years of continuous combat operations and inadequate funding have put the Navy and Marine Corps aviation into a hole from which they are only now beginning to recover. Congress shares the blame, but we are beginning to turn things around. The two-year budget agreement signed by President Trump in February will help provide much-needed stability and relief. In a matter of weeks, Congress should take the next step by ending the cycle of continuing resolutions with an FY18 appropriation bill that funds the Department of Defense at much higher levels. DoD's FY19 budget request also matches the FY19 level set by the budget agreement. Our witnesses should address how the budget helps restore full spectrum readiness and support modernization, modernization. Secretary Mattis, Secretary Spencer, and General Miller have stated that improving readiness should occur simultaneously with efforts to modernize forces for future challenges. This afternoon, our subcommittee will examine 5 key areas relating to Navy and Marine Corps aviation programs. First, physiological episodes. The subcommittee remains deeply concerned by the continued occurrence of physiological episodes within the military aviation community. We recognize naval aviation's mitigation efforts, particularly in the T-45 trainer aircraft, but we remain frustrated by the overall pace of progress. The subcommittee is eager to understand how the Navy and Marine Corps are handling the continuing problem and how the President's budget request advances efforts to discover root causes while implementing mitigations and solutions. The safety of our Navy and Marine Corps aviators is, of course, paramount. Next, aircraft readiness. The Navy and Marine Corps continue to fall short in the required number of ready basic aircraft. Witnesses should outline the steps the Navy and Marine Corps are taking to arrest and reverse the decline in aircraft readiness. Next, strike fighter shortfall. Our subcommittee would also like to learn more about gaps in the Navy fighter fleet and the Navy's plans to close them, including through legacy Hornet retirement, new Super Hornet procurement, and preparations for the service life extension program for existing Super Hornets. Next, Joint Strike Fighter operations. The subcommittee also wants to understand the development and operations of the F-35B and F-35C Joint Strike Fighter. Last year, the Green Knights of VMFA 121 permanently changed their home station to Iwakuni, Japan, and just completed the first F-35 shipboard deployment. The Joint Program Office is currently revamping its plan for F-35 modernization and is examining how to make the sustainment of the aircraft affordable. The subcommittee looks forward to hearing an update on the F-35 operations and the challenges associated with modernization and sustainment. And then finally, munitions shortfall. Our subcommittee would like an update on the status of the Navy and Marine Corps' air-launched munitions inventories. We remain concerned that inventories of many of our weapons are critically low. At the same time, technological advances by our potential adversaries require us to modernize our munitions to remain relevant. Subcommittee needs to understand if we have enough munitions, and more importantly, if we have enough of the munitions required to fulfill the national defense strategy to be prepared for the high-end fight. So a lot to talk about, and once again want to thank our witnesses for their service and for appearing before us today. And I'm delighted to recognize at this point our ranking member and my teammate in this regard, Senator Hirono.